and welcome to another exciting edition of Jamaica Magazine. I am your host, Audrey Williams. It's officially the start of my favorite time of the year, and hopefully yours as well. This season, we celebrate the beginning of Advent, a love story for the ages. So, let's love, laugh, and have a good cheer.
Here's how we sign the alphabet.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sign with me?
We have so much more to share with you, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the news.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Friday, December 1, 2023. The Jamaica Defense Force JDF has received a new offshore patrol vessel to improve the security of the island's coastal spaces and support strategic moves towards a blue economy. Wife of the Governor General, Her Excellency the Most Honorable Lady Allen, officially named and christened the vessel, His Majesty's Jamaican ship HMJS Norman Manley, in a ceremony at the Port Royal Cruise Terminal on Wednesday. It is named after national hero Norman Washington Manley, who served as Jamaica's first and only premier. The vessel, which arrived in Jamaica on November 5, will be employed in fulfilling the traditional roles of the 1st District JDF Coast Guard. JDF Chief of Defense Staff Rear Admiral Antoinette Weems Gorman says it marks the continuation of long-term plans for capacity development.
These investments in what we call in the JDF the Maritime Air and Cyber Command are a major part of our strategic efforts to address Jamaica's challenges in the maritime domain. You may be aware of the ongoing challenges we have regionally and globally with the trafficking of illegal persons and other illegal activities such as the continued drugs and gun trade in the maritime space.
The vessel will also support search and rescue operations as well as fisheries protection. It is the third of 4 offshore patrol vessels procured by the government, bringing the total number to 5. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang says it is evidence of government's commitment to securing Jamaica's borders and advancing the blue economy.
A sustainable blue economy emerges when economic activity is in balance with the long-term capacity of oceans ecosystems to support its activity and remain resilient and healthy. One such long-term capacity of the ocean or blue ecosystem is security, more precisely maritime security. We'll continue to strategically upgrade our civil defense and our national security assets, incorporating the use of technology as part of our critical tools in the strategic response to creating a safer Jamaica and a sustainable blue economy.
Government will be establishing free digital service points at all post offices island-wide starting next year. Minister with responsibility for skills and digital transformation, Senator Dana Morris-Dixon, says this initiative will allow all persons to benefit from digital services.
So we will have kiosks, we'll have young people who are trained by heart, who will be able to assist someone. So if you have an elderly grandparent who wants to get her passport online and she's worried about having to go to Pica to stand in line for hours because she doesn't know how to do it online, what will happen is she can go to her post office, her nearest post office.
Senator Morris-Dixon was speaking at the 2nd Annual Government of Jamaica Technology Showcase held at the AC Hotel in New Kingston on Wednesday. She says a focal pillar of the digital transformation process is to ensure no one gets left behind.
We're making sure that we do the things online, we put them digitally, so it's easy, you can access it whatever time you want. But for those who are a bit apprehensive or need support, we will provide that support. This transformation is not just for some, it is for all.
The Access to Information Unit, ATI, is undertaking pivotal initiatives aimed at elevating its services. Minister with responsibility for information, Robert Morgan, says the vision is to create a website through which all ATI requests can be submitted and tracked.
There's an upgrade taking place currently of the ATI website, as well as aligning it to modern accessibility standards. This site is to be a precursor to the ATI Act, which is now before the Attorney General's Department.
The minister was speaking during Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives. He says upgrading of the ATI Act, which was last revised in 2010, is part of the administration's commitment to the Open Government Program. The ATI unit, which falls within the Information Division of the Office of the Prime Minister, leads and guides the implementation and administration of the Act, which was passed in June 2002. The unit is also tasked with monitoring the compliance levels of the various ministries and agencies of government, in addition to educating the public on their rights and obligations under the legislation. A street lighting program is currently underway for the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Program, SHIP Part B, through a contract valued at over $400 million. The National Works Agency, NWA, is executing the project in partnership with the Jamaica Public Service Company. The 17-kilometer stretch from Harborview in St. Andrew to Yallas in St. Thomas is being outfitted with about 400 light poles. Manager of Communication and Customer Services at the NWA, Stephen Shaw, says this is expected to be completed by Christmas. The Harborview to Yallas leg of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Program is being done at a cost of over $114 million. Several sections of the four-lane highway are being realigned for safety and efficiency purposes. Mr. Shaw reveals that progress is being made with the installation of traffic signals along the corridor. 11 such systems are to be installed. Other final works now being undertaken include the installation of safety features, including road markings and signs, as well as corrective works to minor defects in some areas. And finally, the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport has officially launched its Gender-Based Violence GBV Helpline and Sexual Harassment Investigation Units. These are in response to the high incidences of gender-based violence across Jamaica. The units were opened by Portfolio Minister Olivia Grange during Wednesday's International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women banner event at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in New Kingston. The GBV Helpline Unit was established on September 25 to support victims, survivors, and witnesses. To date, it has dealt with over 7,000 cases, most of them from females. The unit is staffed with 3 gender-based violence helpline specialists and 1 supervisor. In January 2024, the government will provide resources to double the number of specialists and appoint a director. In addition to these efforts, Minister Grange says sensitization sessions have so far reached more than 28,000 Jamaicans.
There is #no excuse for abuse, no excuse for gender-based violence. Our commitment is reflected through our actions to protect and empower our women and our girls. We reconfirm our commitment to creating a society where every person can live a life free from fear and violence.
The minister insists that eliminating gender-based violence requires collective attention, advocacy, and activism. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for staying with us. As previously stated, we are in the season of love. Some of us exhibit our love by giving gifts. If you are that person, our next feature will show you how to express your gift-giving love language without breaking the bank.
For many people, Christmas is dazzling lights, decorations, festivities, an abundance of food, gift giving, and excessive spending. But there is an old saying, one day feasting, next day fasting. And unfortunately, if you are not mindful of how you spend during the season, when January rolls around, you may find yourself unable to pay your bills and in some cases, literally starving. Do you want to be one of those people? Of course not. So the smart thing to do is to create a budget and stay within it.
Some of the things you can do to stay in budget for this Christmas is to first make a list. Make sure that list includes everything that you'd want to do this Christmas. So not just buying gifts. I think we tend to only think about gifts when we're making our Christmas list. But definitely include things like home decor. A lot of us want to refresh our place, change out Christmas decor that we had last year, and also include things like food. So a lot of us will have friends and family coming over. Definitely make a budget for the ham, the drinks, the cake, and so it will overall just be your Christmas budget, your ideal Christmas budget. It's extremely important to stay in budget this season. You don't want 2022 to catch you deeper in debt, and then create just that financial and emotional stress that comes with being in a position where you can't afford certain things because you have to be clearing off the credit card debt from Christmas. So it also just generates to your emotional well-being of the importance of really sticking within budget and making sure that you're making room for things like savings, major goals that you have next year that you may have had to put off because you overspent for Christmas. So you definitely want to ensure that you're still able to save for those unexpected occurrences, and also to prepare for the major goals that you might have for 2022, like home purchasing, getting insurance, very important, investing, and just preparing for probably that next step in your child's life.
And for those people who tell themselves that tomorrow is not promised, so they're living for now?
Tomorrow is going to come. And if it's not going to affect you, it will affect somebody close to you. So I'd always say, make sure whatever you're spending this season, you are taking into account what is going to happen in 2022. It's going to come, and as I said, if it doesn't come for you, it's going to affect your family if you didn't make the right financial decisions today.
So, as you work on your Christmas list, separate your wants from your needs and focus on the essentials. Most people have a to-do list. Today, we will introduce you to the not-to-do list. Tips, tricks, and strategies to help you live within your means and recognize your financial constraints. Gift giving. For some people, it's not Christmas if there are no gifts. However, if you can't afford it, then there is no obligation to give. Admit this to yourself and make it known to those with outstretched palms. Traveling. That trip that you did not save for can always wait. Yes, the lockdown measures have relaxed a bit, but that's no reason to spend money that you don't really have. Plan a staycation, it's cheaper. Keeping up with the Joneses. This phrase is not new by any means. Nevertheless, it needs to be said.
Keeping up with people on social media, especially in the age that we live in now, you want to do so much, and sometimes it's just beyond your income and your capacity to do so. So I would say definitely stay in your lane, focus on your income, what you want your Christmas to look like, and don't compare it with anyone else's. And don't feel like you need to go overboard for the persons that you love and spend beyond what you're able to do. People who love you will just appreciate what you give them, especially if it's something that you put a lot of thought and time into. Check yourself emotionally. A lot of overspending comes because, especially during a pandemic, some of us might be feeling down emotionally, just depressed, and we turn to retail to make ourselves feel better. But we know what can happen with that. It just now creates this cycle because you now feel depressed because of the debt that you're in. So I would say definitely check yourself. Make sure that you're not spending from an emotional standpoint and that you're not spending because of impulse. So as I said, make that list and check it twice and check yourself as well.
I tell you, part of the reason why I love this season is the food. The curry goat, the ham, fruit cake, and the list goes on. But while we're satisfying our taste buds, let's not forget our health. Here are some ways you may manage your health even as you feast.
Dangerous strains of bacteria such as E. coli and Salmonella can cause serious health problems when the food we eat become contaminated through improper handling and not being properly cooked. In light of the dangers, there are some important precautionary measures we must observe to protect our health.
We have to make sure we know where we're purchasing our food. If it's straight from the farms, if it's from the market, it's from the supermarket, it's from the meat shop. Ensure that it is clean. When you are preparing the food, ensure that you have a separate cutting board for meats, separate cutting board for vegetables, and you're constantly washing your hands. If you're going to eat out, ensure that the environment in which you're going to take your family is one where you can trust that the food is being prepared in a clean environment. We love our street food, and we encourage, as Consumer Protection Agency, we encourage that economic activity. But we're saying you have to take precautions as well. Ensure that your street food are from reputable person that you know you can trust.
Check the expiry date on food products before purchasing and check them again before cooking.
In food preparation as well, the education is to ensure that you separate the raw from the cooked. You know, the raw and the cooked is a totally different environment. So when you mix the two, that's when you have contamination. That's when you have food poisoning. That's when you have a member of the family who might end up in the hospital because they're either very young or they're elderly or their immune system has been compromised.
Discard any food that looks or smells questionable. Don't allow your food to stay open and accessible to flies. Containerize and refrigerate or freeze leftover food before 2 hours after cooking. And always store meats and seafood in sealed containers.
The second thing about food safety is you have large amounts of food laid out for a couple of hours or more, and the family keeps coming back, dipping, visitors coming, dipping. You have to ensure if you have the food out for more than 2 hours, hot food, be very careful, especially if you add sauces and other condiments on the food. It tends to go a little off early, and that is where you have problems. If you have an elderly person or a young child, make sure that you put that away early, that you don't put your family at risk, because food poisoning, most of us get well quickly, but it can lead to death if your immune system has been compromised. So we're saying be safe with your food. Ensure that when you package them and put them away, they're packaged in portions where when you take them out to reheat, you don't reheat the entire thing and then put it back in the refrigerator. So you apportion it according to what you're going to be using, so you don't increase the risk of food poisoning or any other bacteria entering the food.
Ensure meats are cooked thoroughly. Remember, improper food handling can mean the difference between a trip to the emergency room or enjoying a tasty meal.
Although this is a season that many people look forward to every year, others may see it differently. So, keep an eye on that witty and strong person. They may require extra love and care at this time.
Around the world, 10 to 20% of children and teenagers suffer from mental illness. In Jamaica, 45% of teenagers have reported having frequent episodes of anxiety symptoms such as jitters, restlessness, worry, and irritation. According to a new Caribbean Policy Research Institute poll used to examine broader measures of mental and emotional health, Mental illness may be influenced by several underlying factors such as working long hours, providing care for a family member, or experiencing financial troubles. Let's now lift the curtains on one man's life narrative to see how his mental state impacted the way he maneuvered life. It's a journey that may impact even you.
One fool makes many, right? So Curtis brings them in, and they line up like little ducks in a row, and Curtis just knocks them down, right? How do you think we keep getting so many repeat gigs?
This play, it looks and examines the life and times of Donny Hathaway. That's a popular American musician. But not only was he brilliant, the fact is that the truth of the matter is that he had mental issues.
Despite his mental struggles, Donny Hathaway arranged multiple hit songs for various soul, gospel, jazz, and blues artists, Aretha Franklin and The Impressions, among others.
Jackie O or Nina Simone.
Oh my girl.
It's all coming through and then some. Curtis is the man. Yes, all from your production deals. We have to move to Chicago. I'll be arranging for Jerry Butler, the Staple Singers, and even Aretha Franklin. In my life and time, I've sung a lot of songs.
Hathaway's mental health improved after being diagnosed and starting treatment.
But why should we listen to a story of an American artist?
We believe strongly, we don't just believe, we live the philosophies of Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey believed in a pan-African movement where all of us that are descendants of Africa are related, and we all are. So Donny's story may seem to be an American story, but it's a black man's story.
A black man's story that disregards social status, color, stage in life, or geographic place.
In Jamaica, once you mention, that you are struggling, in that way you are deemed like, or maybe not much attention is placed to that. It's more like, oh no, just, sleep, relax, it's whatever you're dealing with. Maybe you're worrying too much or you're probably stressed, so don't think too much about it. But what are the signs that we can look for somebody that is struggling with mental health issues?
Sometimes when persons are in this state, we can see some of the signs starting to break through. Like they'll get angry easily, or they'll be too withdrawn in the opposite side. Sometimes there's some tremors that can happen to your body.
In 60% of instances of mental illness involving children in state care, psychological difficulties are evident. 76% of those cases involve maladaptive behaviors like violence, suicidal thoughts, and social withdrawal.
I played Yulela in Heart of Soul. I was Donny's wife. I was the caring type, but he started going through mental illness. I didn't know what was going on at the time. Well, the character didn't know what was going on at the time. She was supportive, but at one point, things went south.
And the role I played was a character named Benny, but sometimes went by Bunny. Whatever the reason may be, I'm still not completely certain, but I loved the character because it was essentially me, but a caricature. So the way I had to prepare for the role was I just had to be myself, but play it up a little. He was a sort of type that knew what was happening. He knew the ins and outs of the roles, and he knew how to play it up to his advantage.
I played Donny Hathaway, the lead. Well, the story is built around his life.
Through art and its storytelling come possibilities of understanding life's various obstacles and the struggle to overcome them. It could be as simple as resisting a harmful mental perception.
I was very shy, and when I should perform on stage, I get nervous and always forgetting my lines. At one point I thought he was gonna drop me and find someone else, but he saw the talent in me I didn't see myself, and he pushed me to get there. So now having the confidence, I'm very dedicated to this studio, and I'm willing to play any part given to me.
Theatre is one way to do this, and there are many other ways to challenge the mind, such as knowing the difference between fact and fiction. You can begin by utilizing the resources at your disposal.
We have, for example, like forums. We collaborate with other agencies, other health agencies, to educate, as well as to we provide the information as to where they can go to get assistance.
Donny Hathaway returned to his room at the Essex House Hotel in New York City on January 13, 1979. Later that night, his body was discovered on the sidewalk outside his 15th floor window. The death of Donny Hathaway was ruled a suicide. He was 33 years old at the time.
To check on your strong friends.
Very much true, because like she said, you don't know what people are going through. And it's also important to know within yourself what's going on, because you yourself know you better than anyone else could possibly know you.
Let not your mind be troubled, and if it is, seek help. Our theatre, culture, and art worlds are waiting on you to speak up, find peace, and inspire others to do the same.
The Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, has been involved in several initiatives as part of the National Plan of Action for an integrated response to eradicating all types of violence, abuse, and exploitation of children. Director of Children and Family Programs at the CPFSA, Dr. Warren Thompson, provides an update.
The 211 hotline, I think, is well known. Toll-free 24-hour 3-digit number was implemented in 2021 to increase the access for children in particular. We expanded the service, moved it from 16 hours to 24 hours, moved it from Monday to Friday to 7 days per week. We increased the number of persons working on the line. We're currently providing different kinds of therapeutic services, and we're looking to expand that. So we're looking at occupational therapy. We are working on developing a child protection early warning system. And the child protection early warning system is aimed at leveraging community resources to engage in early detection of children who may be at risk and activate a response.
Protecting our children is an integral part of ensuring that Jamaica becomes a place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. We've reached the end of our program. Get a recap of everything you saw here and more on our website, gis.gov.jm. I'm Audrey Williams. Bye for now.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.